Onegaishimasu.
All right, let's warm up. Circles. Go down, up, down again, up. We'll go left and right, move through these. Reach from your back leg all the way to your fingertips on the opposite hand. Legs, both sides. Toes up, both sides. And let's do this straight back squat, kind of upright. Now let's sink into it a little bit more. And look over your shoulder, point your elbow out, both sides. Do it again. And the other side. Now let's sink even just a little bit more. Rest your arms on your thighs. Don't put too much weight on it. Some of these classes on Saturdays are real thigh burners, so I'll incorporate a little bit of it. All right, feet together. Down, up, down. And now if your surface is good, roll back on one side of your body. Keep your legs back there. Come up, cross your legs. Again, always roll on one side of your body. I think some of these square rolls we get used to on the mat just coming straight up, but you can really feel it on the floor if you're not rolling on the side of your body. Back on the other side. Up. Feet straight out in front. Engage your quads, flex your feet, and just hinge at the hips, neutral neck. Now point everything around. Legs open. One side. Other side. Switch again. I like this variation. And again. And straight down. Feet together. Same way here, you can keep a straight back, hinge at the hips, lean over just a little bit. I can only go a little bit, you go as far as is comfortable. And then grab your feet and round everything. Okay, ankles. Toes. Massage the arch. Hit it. Shake. Other foot. Ankle. Toes. Arch. Hit. Shake. I'm gonna go and seize it. You can go on your toes or you can stand for this. Just reaching back stretch one side. The other side, this can also stretch your thigh, especially if you go up a bit. This. Let's do both sides again. Okay, circles, again, you could stand or stay down here. Other way. Go faster. And again. Let's breathe. Low shoulders. Shoulders still low. Bring everything down. Exhale. Let's exhale more on this one. Everything out. Okay. Let's warm up a little bit more with a little ukemi if your surface is good. If it's not, you can just do some standing kokyu nage ikkyo motions. But I'm going to go back. We'll just go at our own pace. I'm going to start on my with my right foot forward and go back. I'm going to switch my feet every time so that you'll feel the mat surface, your rug surface, go up one side of your body, across your shoulders, and down the other like a U. So it looks like that, right? I'm coming up on this side, coming up on this side. Switch every time. Go ahead at your own pace. I'm going to do about 10. That was probably about 10. So I'm gonna do the same thing now, but I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna go to the. I'm gonna switch my feet and switch my direction. So let me show you on this side. Gonna come down on this arm, reach across with the other arm. I'm changing my feet, and I come up. So I'm in left hanmi here. Move around, facing 180 degrees. I'm in right hanmi. So the same thing. Switching your feet, but switching directions now. Go ahead at your own pace. We'll do about 10 of these too. Mac looks very suspicious. You can do these at a slight angle too if you have less room. More of a 45 than a 180. All right, let's stand up. So last week, talked about shoulders, did this kind of exercise that I like to do to lock your shoulders in place, which is your shoulders are forward, you lift them up, you move them back, and you lock them down. Your shoulder blades should be pointing right into your back pockets. So it's a really nice, comfortable place to have your shoulders, and we easily swung our arms. Did a bunch of that last week. This week, let's talk about shoulder position. So we'll still keep them down and relax them back, but there's also the kind of shoulder position where if you're in hanmi, one is forward, one is back, right? One is forward, one is back. Or are you square, like this? The amount of sensei will do this, a lot of horse stance stuff, square. There's also whether they're angled or not. Ordinarily, we don't want to be like this, you know, angled. We want to have a solid base. However, when you're doing something like ikkyo, which we'll do, cut down here, if I want this lead shoulder to go down farther. So I want to end up in a position like this, right? My shoulders are angled down, my back leg's angled up. I'm using my whole body here. This is not using my whole body. I'm using my whole body here. To illustrate this, let's try to do, so picture Shomanuchi. I'm going to be in left hanmi. We're doing Shomanuchi ikkyo. So the first thing we'll do is cut down both hands and slide in like this, and then step in for the next part. Here's where I believe you should have your hand, you should be looking down your own arm, your fingertips towards Uke's head. And that's why your shoulders are like this. So you can start it with the first motion. Here, your shoulder can actually be pointed down. So cut, point down, and step in. Left foot. So front hand cuts like a bow can. Back hand cuts with the fingers or flicking, right? Like this, and step in. Cut both hands, step in. Check your posture, see if your back foot is straight. Should have sort of a triangular posture. Back foot is straight, your shoulders can be angled down. If you have a kodachi or something like that, let's grab that now, because I think it's easier to see this as an illustration. If you have a spatula or whatever, you can do that. If you don't have any of it, that's fine too. So ikkyo from left hamni, that first hand again is a cut, right? Like this. It's like a kesa cut. So you're gonna come from your shoulder up there, so, and down at an angle. The second hand is like a fingertip flick, right? So I was messing around with this and I got this, I got a pretty good feeling of this. So I'm using this to cut, but I'm also using this to toss it down there, right? So you can take the top, have your fingers, toss it down. The kodachi or whatever your item is lands here at the side of your foot, here, and then this is where we'd step in, right? So this is sort of the handwork for ikkyo. So again, your shoulders have to be relaxed, have to be smooth to let that go. And let's do one more thing with this. I'm still doing this all in left hamni, then we'll do the other side. So we cast this down here. My shoulders are angled. I've stepped in. Here I am in ikkyo position. If you want to check to see how your shoulders are, move that item back up. It should be on an angle here. This would be the same angle as Uke's arm. Uke's head is here. If I did a bad job with my shoulders and they're square and I move this up, now this is the shopping cart we talk about, right? My center's facing this way. It's not facing down here with Uke. His arm is here or her arm. Instead, the arm should be angled downwards. I'm going this direction, right? So hope that makes sense. Let's try it on the right side. Again, here's your kesa cut. So you can start with that. It's going to end down by your thigh. And add the fingers, which is going to flick this. Watch out for your animals. Go on there. So you flick that down there. This is both hands working together. This is my elbow hand. This is my wrist hand. So you can kind of almost hear the kodachi if you have a good motion of it. And then lastly, step in. So flick, step in. Oh my gosh. Okay. Mac wants to be involved. So flick, step in, and then check your position. So I'm in right hamni, ikkyo. Step in, check my position, bring this up. Is this at an angle? That's good. That's good, I think. Should be pointing down right in front of your toes. Where Uke's head is. Let's do a little bit of ikkyo on your own, both sides. No.
Macker. Come here. Hi guys. Come here. Come here.
I guess Mac likes ikkyo. So if it feels a little weird, you can try it. You can try it on your own. I like this feeling of just casting the kodachi down, because I feel like that's how loose your arm should be when you're doing all these techniques. Let's do this So we've done a little bit of Ikkyo. Let's do Katachitori Kokyu Nage. So Uke would be grabbing, I'm going to put this down for a sec. Uke is grabbing my left wrist. I'm going to slide out, and now I'm going to cut their elbow. Again, this ends the same way. The way I like to do this technique, this is one of my favorite techniques. Katachitori Kokyu Nage. Slide out here, cut here. Uke does a back fall or a break fall or a forward roll. You guys know this one. So I slide out and I step in towards the elbow. This should look very familiar because it's just like Ikkyo. Slide out, step in, and I'm ending just like Ikkyo. And again, I generate power with my shoulders down, my back foot, all the way, everything comes down here. Boom. So you can grab this if you want, slide out, angle in. Both sides, slide out, angle in. Go ahead at your own pace. You can try it with or without the boken or the kodachi, whatever you have. There's a way to do this too, where you slide, you step, there's almost like a little pause here, and now my entire body's gonna get behind that. From my back leg through my shoulders. This is how you can really generate power on somebody. You get somebody to pop over. You got to think that that motion on their elbow is peeling their legs off the ground. Boom. So you can work on this on your own and just sort of feel at the end, check, see where your shoulders are. If your shoulders are square in a technique where you want to use the arm, where you want to use the whole arm, including the wrist going up, elbow going down. If it's square, it's going to be really hard to get them off balance. You're going to have to go down like that. Let's try a slight variation on this one. So we were talking about horse stance. This is a good exercise. I don't usually do this Katachitori Kokyu Nage this way, but like Yamada Sensei will do it this way. He'll slide out, get uke stretched out here. The elbow is here. Now he's in horse stance, and his whole entire body can chop that down. Wendy Sensei's a fan of this style too. Slide out and cut down on your center line. So this is good for your to keep your thighs going, right? So slide out, cut down on your center line, cut low. Use your body weight. Slide out both sides, cut. So if you're in left hanmi, they are holding your left hand. You stretch them out with that. Their elbow is right in front of you. Cut down your center line, cut their elbow, they'll go flying. You could do reps of this and go lower. You can also take your kodachi. This has a cool feel to it too. So same thing, they've got this arm. I'm gonna slide out, I'm gonna bring this up, and I'm gonna cut. Almost like I'm gonna place this on the ground. It's cutting my center line. Come up, change hands, slide out. This comes down, right down my center line, cut. Change hands, slide out, cut. Go ahead at your own pace. It's very lateral. So keep your legs fit, cutting way down like that. So probably an exaggeration from what you might do in class, but you can always dial it back. If you're feeling really ganky, you can speed this up. Just make sure your cut's right in the center line. Find my right hand cuts a lot better than my left. Time we got here. Okay. So those are a couple different techniques we did with that. There's something that Wiwal Sensei did on Saturday. Very cool exercise I hadn't seen before. And it's a bit like Ikkyo. Where you come down, your arm come down, your leg comes up. But the way she did it was start with the yokomen cut. And you're going to cast that out. It's going to pull your balance out. Start with the Yokomen cut. This backhand stays back. And if you can, go all the way to the ground. Then come up. So this is difficult. It's shaky for me, and that's one reason I like it. I've never done it. I like the idea. This balance. You can really work on balance. Come down, touch your fingertips if you can. Put your whole palm down. And drop your leg and come back up. If you're having trouble with your balance, here's one thing it could be. So I do my Yokomen here, and I'm going down. This shoulder should be back, right? We're talking about where our shoulders are. If this shoulder is square and I come down, I'm going to lose my balance this direction. Right? So that shoulder needs to be back. I'm in a line here. That's why this hand stays here, not out here where it's going to pull me. So let's try both sides of that. It's pulling, the strike is pulling you forward down to the mat and back. It's good leg exercise. Ooh, good balance exercise. Again, I'm not so good on my left side. So that strike should really pull you off balance, pulling your face out over your foot. We'll up it level of difficulty if you want. Get your kodachi or whatever you have. Do the same thing. It's pulling you out down to the ground. It's like you're laying your weapon down. And then bring the point up. Try both sides. So the point drags your nose down, drags everything down. Lay it on the ground, and then point back up. Reverse. Back hand stays back, back shoulder stays back. Pretty hard for me on the left side. Let's see how everybody's doing. Yeah, and you can experiment with how far. If you keep it kind of close, you have a lot of control. But if you cast it out more, you're really allowing your balance to be taken. So it's more difficult. You can try that. Don't fall over. Don't hit anything. But I like that. It's a good exercise, and it's good for I think for that's what happens a lot for Ikkyo, right? You're coming up here like this, so that's good too. We got a few minutes here. Why don't we do? If you have your weapon or your spatula or whatever, let's just do a couple of different cuts that you can work on your own. So I'm going to have it sort of waist high here. I'm standing in a natural stance, and I'm going to be cutting. This is two hands, so like this would be a bokken. Bokken would be great for this, Joe, if anybody knows bokken. I'm going to cut across this way and turn it over. My upper hand is always leading the strike. So turn it over, so my top hand is leading the strike. And I'm going to try not to turn my whole waist too much. The cut comes from the waist, but my belt is facing you most of the time. One side, flip it to the other side. Picture a spot in space. If you were severing both sides each time, you don't want it too close, right? You want to be reaching out. Bring it back. So that's one variation. We'll do that. Oh, you got it. I got it. Thanks. Oops. Something happened. Sorry, guys. There we go. Another variation are case knot cuts. Let's do this in Hanmi. So I'm in right hamni. I'm going to slice down kesat in a diagonal here. I'm going to turn the weapon over, raise it up, slice down. Again, this is a good one. Pick a spot, and you're slicing an X through the same spot every time. So down, raise the weapon up, down, up, down. So you can do this on your own. Pick that same spot. If your spot's wavering a bit, work on it. Change sides. Do the same thing from both hamni. And now, well, let's stay in this hamni. But now I'm going to turn the blade over, and we're going to cut up. Cut up. Drop it down. Cut up. Drop it down. It's almost like a golf swing, or so I've heard. Again, you don't want this too close to you, right? You want to be cutting out. Change hamni, other side. So each time your hand has to turn. So this is just an exercise. You don't need me to tell you to do it, but you can sort of self-regulate on it. Like if you have that point that you are looking for, that point that you're cutting either way, down, up, down, up. I should be bisecting that same exact point in the air. And you can tell whether you're doing that better than I can seeing you on Zoom. So, you know, have fun with that. Let me see. We got a few minutes here. Oh, one other thing I was going to mention last week, you know, we did all our exercises, and then we talked about tightening the center, something Seki Sensei does, and then it allows you to move more freely. So everything we did today, you still have some energy after this. Go back through it again. Think about your center is tight now. See if that changes. Your accuracy and your freedom of your movement, your ikkyo, your kokyunage, your kokyunage exercise, this one, other kokyunage. My center's tight. Go ahead, give that a shot. So let's cool down a little bit, and then we'll chat for a few minutes. Okay, jump. Circles. Down. Up. Down. Up. Reach left and right. Legs. Let's finish with a little breathing. So stand in that Shizen-Tai stance again. Exhale down. Inhale up. Hold it. Exhale. Inhale everything big. Exhale again. Okay, let's bow out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sensei.